Yo, man, it is your boy SasukeUzumaki today with a face cam video of all things. Oh shit. Today I just wanted to talk about Mortal Kombat X, of course. This is going to be a discussion video per se. Probably not the best discussion video out there on YouTube that's discussing this game because I'm not good with speaking, I'm not good with speaking, so to speak, like when it comes to these kind of videos, like discussion videos, but I'm going to try my best to make my arguments clear. Today, I just wanted to talk about what the title says, Mortal Kombat X, New versus Old. So of course, the other day we got a new trailer for Mortal Kombat X, and it revealed Kitana, and of course we got some more gameplay of Kung Lao, and of course the trailer features all of the other characters that we've seen so far. Now, so far, we have, I think, what, 10 to 12 characters already revealed. So, we have Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Quan Chi, Raiden, Cassie Cage, Ferrator, Kotal Khan, Kano, Deborah, Goro, Kitana, and Kung Lao. So that's 12. That's 12 characters right there. Now, if we're going based off of what we saw in the character select screens for any gameplay of the variations and things like that, we saw that there was like 10 slots. Now, let's put Goro out of the equation, and let's just say he's just a DLC slot. So, already you have like half the roster right there. So today, I wanted to kind of talk about, is it a good thing as to whether or not we have all the, or at least a good portion of the characters who died in MK 2011 come back in this game. So my first argument with this is that, okay, if you're going to have characters returning, then you should think about the original 7. So you have, or at least the original cast of characters, I should say. So you have Johnny Cage, Kano, Goro, Sub-Zero, Sonya, Reptile, Raiden, Liu Kang, Scorpion, and Ermac. Now, with the exceptions of Ermac, Reptile, and Goro, and Shang Tsung, since they were not playable, you have the original 7 right there. Now, we already know that in MK 2011, Raiden, Sonya, Johnny Cage, Quan Chi, and Shinnok, those 5 characters were assured to be in the game. So I'm just waiting for a reveal trailer for Johnny Cage and Sonya to come on through, and that takes up another 2 to 3 slots right there. So there you have 15. Now my thing is that with every iteration, of course, with fighting games, they usually introduce new characters in a sequel, and Mortal Kombat has always done that. So you have those characters right there off the bat in MK1. Now in MK2 you had Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Johnny Cage, Reptile, Sub-Zero, Shang Tsung, Kitana, Jax, Mileena, Baraka, Scorpion, and Raiden. So now you have Kung Lao, Kitana, Jax, Mileena, and Baraka as new characters, along with Kintaro, Shao Kahn, and Noob Saibot, and Smoke. So there you have, that's 9, right? That's 9 new characters total. But of course, the secret characters, they weren't playable. I mean, that wouldn't happen until, Mortal Kombat Trilogy. So in Trilogy, you have all those secret characters that were in the first 2 games, and now they're all playable, including the boss characters. So my thing is that it's like the more you add new characters, then you have to decide who stays or who goes. All right, so Mortal Kombat 4 now. Now you have I believe it was 7 new characters. You have Kai, Shinnok, Reiko, Jarek, Tanya, Fujin, and Quan Chi. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 new characters. So then you gotta decide who stays and who goes. It's kind of funny how you have all these new characters. You jump from sequel to sequel. And then you decide, you're like, oh, we just had these new characters in the last game. So what do? Like, you throw out the ones that weren't so popular, or the ones that that Ed Boon decides to put in, or whatever. I'm not saying that's how it is with this game, but it kind of makes me think, like, if you're revealing more old characters, you know, as the game progresses, you know, it kind of makes me worried as to whether or not there are going to be any new characters in the game. Because there's only been 4. Cassie Cage, Kodokan, Ferrator, and, damn, who's the other one? Devora. Alright, so Deadly Alliance now, for new characters. This is strictly for new characters only that have been introduced in a sequel. Bo Raicho, for Deadly Alliance now. Bo Raicho, Lime, Kenshi, Movado, Nitara, Draman, Suhao, Frost, Blaze, and Mocha. All playable characters, of course. So that puts up the total to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So far, the most characters that we've seen in a Mortal Kombat game for a sequel of new characters is 10. Out of 21 characters, literally half the roster is new. And then you jump to Deception. Deception. Alright, so for new characters in that game, you have Havoc, Shujinko, Hotaru, Ashura, Dairu. No, Havoc. So I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I know I'm gonna mess up during this video. You got Havoc, Shujinko, Hotaru, Ashura, Dairu, Cobra, Darius, and Kira. So that's 8 characters. You know, a couple less than what Deadly Alliance had. So my point is this: is that if you keep introducing new characters, you know, or rather old characters, I should say, you know, then how much room does that really leave for new characters? You know, and then when you introduce new characters, which ones do you keep? You know, Quan Chi has been around since he was introduced as a new character in MK4. He was in Deadly Alliance, he was in MK Deception, but of course, you know, how that whole story went, you know, the whole battle with Raiden, you know, with him teaming up with Shang Tsung during Deception. Then Armageddon brings everybody back, and then you have MK vs. DC, he was there too, MK 2011. You know, only a handful of new characters. I mean, really, the only new character that was in that game was Scarlet. And everybody else was just guests. You know, it was essentially Mortal Kombat Trilogy all over again, with the exceptions of additions with Scarlet, Kratos, and Freddy Krueger, and Kenshi. So my thing is that, you know, is it a good idea that you add older characters? I mean, of course, you know, people want their fan favorites back, and I think that's a problem because, you know, for as much as we may like a certain character in a game, you know, it feels like, oh well, if this character's brought back, then that means, you know, so-and-so is coming back too, right? You know, I would have wanted newer faces, you know. I mean, it's great that Kitana and Kung Lao are back, you know. I'm sure, you know, there's some whole resurrection process, you know, on either Quan Chi's end for the NetherRealm, you know, for the NetherRealm's sake, you know, him bringing him back to fight Raiden and whatever forces of light he had, or Raiden made a deal with the Elder Gods to bring him back on his side to fight against Shinnok and Quan Chi. You know, things like that. So, I would really personally want to see more newer faces, like characters that we've never seen before, original designs, you know, characters that we can now latch onto, you know, in the future. I mean, of course, it's always great that you have new characters, but then it's like when you bring back older and older characters, then it just becomes, you know, essentially MK 2011 all over again. And Ed Boon clearly stated that he did not want that game, that they weren't planning to. So I'm sure that NetherRealm Studios is not going to cop out by bringing back, you know, like 20 characters from MK 2011, and then you only have, like, you know, 4 new characters left. There's 12 character slots left, so I'm expecting to see a couple more characters. I would say, just for the sake of adding freshness, I would say maybe a good number would be 4 to 6. Because, I mean, at least that's 10, you know, at least it's in the double digits, you know. That way, like, you know, MKX will be a fresh game. That it'll be new characters. Of course, you know, not everybody's gonna like the new characters, but that's the thing, you know, you kind of grow attached to them, you know. That's what keeps the series fresh, you know. when you keep the ideas, you know, especially with characters, you know, new and fresh. It's always nice to appease the more nostalgic fans of the series, but it's always good to keep your series fresh, you know, and have some new ideas for characters. You know, we already got, like, you know, established characters in Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kitana, Kung Lao, and, you know, even Quan Chi, even though he was in a game that, you know, not everybody liked, you know, in MK4. But I would say that, just for the sake of argument, that it's better to just keep adding new characters from this point out, because it's like, okay, we already got the notion that old characters are going to be coming back anyway, because Sean Hemrick, you know, he pretty much gave it away that Quan Chi was resurrecting the characters from MK 2011 who were supposed to be dead, but, you know, death, you know, like Edwin said, it's not necessarily the end, you know. So they might want to, they might, you know, play it off in the story mode, you know, as to you know, like what purpose does it serve, you know, to kill off a character just to bring him back, you know. So it must have been a reason why, you know. So like I said, I'm happy with the fact that, you know, Kitana and Kung Lao are revealed. They look very great, especially Kitana. She looks as beautiful as ever, as always. And Kung Lao, dude was doing some IP man shit, just bullet punching the fuck out of Quan Chi's face, man. That was so epic. But I didn't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to kind of get the discussion out there, get the discussion going. So what do you guys think? You know, would you guys prefer to see older characters from older games, or would you guys want to just see newer characters like me? I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with appeasing the more nostalgic fans out there in the Mortal Kombat universe, but it would be great. It would be very great to introduce new characters, to keep Mortal Kombat X as fresh as possible, and to not rehash, you know, what we had for the nostalgic fans out there in MK 2011. Because that's pretty much what the whole game was serving. You know, the more nostalgic fans to kind of reinvent the series in a new way with a new timeline. So if it's a new timeline, then you should see some new characters, you know? So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. I've been your boy SasukeUzumaki, and I'll catch you guys next time.